When I started talking about Finland being the American dream, I might not have been totally fair to America. I kind of sound like this person who has entered the promised land and everything that they left behind was bad, evil, less than. And that's not that wasn't my point at all in making those statements earlier. There are some really great things about America, and of course America is where I grew up, and it's something that it will always be a major part of who I am, and it will be most of who I am. I think the years that you grew up from when you're born until you're in your 20s, if you spend that entire part of your life somewhere, then I feel like your identity will always be with that culture, with that place, with that way of living. When I moved to Finland, people would always ask me what do Americans do about this situation? Or how do Americans do this? Or what do Americans think about this? And it was always I felt like I should have an answer for that, but it's impossible because there are so many people and America is so huge that not everybody believes one certain way or one certain thing. One thing I really like about Americans, and that I will speak very highly of, is that America has always been full of hope and people who are not afraid to dream. And as a contrast to Finland, I think that Finnish people are starting to become more that way. It's been affected a lot by the war, the war that they fought for their independence, and the war was very hard and it affected people in a very deep way. And so I think that Finns are not, at least not as much as America, just full of hope and dreams. And I think the further you get each generation away from the war, the kind of more hopeful and more brighter those people are. But Americans are very good at hoping and dreaming big and thinking big and having this spirit of we can accomplish anything. Let's try this, and daring to take huge risks. And I think that's amazing. That's something that I actually miss about America. That being said, I feel like Finland is this country where it's a small country, but it gets so many things right. The rights of people and these basic things that should make life just go forward, and that you don't have to fight so hard just to exist. For instance, in America, when you go to buy something from the store, there's a price tag on the item. And that is not the amount that you pay when you get to the cash register, because the tax is not included there. At least where I was from in the States, the tax did not get added onto the price tag. And so when you get to the cash register, if it was a 5% tax, if you pay $100 for something, you're oh, it's actually 105 because of tax. In Finland, and probably a lot of places in Europe, it's when you see the price tag and it says you're gonna pay 100 euros for this. When you get to the cash register, that's exactly how much you pay, and that's it. That's just a little thing, but I feel Finland gets also education very right. The right to study, even beyond high school, being free, and these things that are considered as human rights, the rights to good health, the rights to education, the right to become a viable human being in society. I think that's amazing, and that it when you think about it, it's of course, why wouldn't we do it that way? And honestly, when I have to think about raising kids in Finland versus raising kids in America, I have 2 kids of my own. It's hard for me to say that I would want to raise my kids in America. And that's a really harsh thing to say, because America is where I grew up and where I was raised. But it just feels so much more safe here. I know that my kids will be healthy. I know that they'll get a good education. I know that when they leave high school and when they leave university, that they won't be deep in debt. I feel much better about my kids growing up in Finland than in America. And yeah, not afraid to say that. But basically, I feel that Finland is based on a system and a society of reason and logic. And it's kind of like, if you just sit down for a second and you think, well, let's think about this logically. How should this be? Oh, well, it would work best if it's like this. And the most reasonable and logic solution, it seems that those are the things that Finland has taken into practice and put in place as standard and law. And is Finland the American dream? Well, that's a really strong statement, because the American dream, I feel, is when America was founded and people started coming to America for the first time. The ideal of what America was this place of hope, this place where people could escape oppression from where they came and come to a place that offered them endless opportunities and the ability to build a better life than they could have built where they come from. This is a country that offers very, very endless opportunities to each citizen and to each resident, even if you're not a citizen. Like, if you have a residence permit, you get the same benefits that citizens get. It kind of reminds me of a story when I first moved to Finland, and I was in, I took a Finnish course for a short time. And there was this guy from Iraq in the class, and he was maybe about in his 50s. And I was, I was like 26 when I moved to Finland, so I was this young guy and full of hope and dreams and excited about moving to a new place. And so, we got to talking, and I just asked him, so why did you move to Finland? And he just looked at me and he said, well, I wanted to get my family out of Iraq, and this guy said, I can get you to Finland. And I said, okay. And that was his answer. That's why they came to Finland. And I think there's actually quite a few of those people, like refugees from wherever, coming to Finland. And Finland takes good care of its refugees and really supports them and promotes integration into the society so that they can start new lives. And that sounds a whole lot like the American dream to me. Leaving behind all the things that hold you back and oppress you, and coming into a place in a society that supports you being the best version of yourself.